The Dell Dimension 5150C was released in 2006. It was touted as a small, quiet, powerful multimedia desktop PC. Does it live up to those expectations? Well, we shall see. Sitting next to a Dell Dimension 9150, a Dimension E520 and an Alienware X51, you can certainly see the small size of this system. Size-wise, it isn't too much bigger than the original PS3 released in the same year, although performance-wise in this spec it sits roughly between Sony's PS2 and PS3. The system features a large vent on the front panel, typical of Dells of this era, behind which is a single 80cm fan, drawing air across the CPU cooler and then hopefully out of the back. The system incorporates a 275 watt power supply, plenty of external ports, an optical audio out and the ability to hook up a 5.1 audio surround sound system, which was also available from Dell for an extra £90. Pressing the shiny 5150C logo on the front of the case provides a satisfying click. The upper panel slides easily up and back, revealing the DVD drive and the front panel connections. Space for a floppy drive or media card reader are included, along with the Dell's diagnostic lights. Unfortunately, this model doesn't feature them. The inside shows just how compact the system is. The single fan blows air over the CPU cooler and then back towards the hard disk drive and eventually out of the rear. With the mounting position of the hard drive and the small form factor case, space is limited for a lot of graphics cards, but the system after all was designed to be cool and quiet with the use of passive cooling. So let's move on to the performance side of the system. Intel's ViiV technology requires a dual-core processor, and that box is ticked on this system with a Pentium D945 running at 3.2 GHz. According to the specs of the motherboard, it also supports Pentium 4s and Celeron Ds. Surprisingly, for such a compact computer, the motherboard boasts 4 RAM slots, this one being populated with 2 512MB sticks of DDR2 RAM. Down on the lower bottom left hand side, the board only features one SATA port, although it looks like at some point it had an option for a second. With no visible signs of a capacitor leak, I was happy to put this system back together and then fire it up and see what it could do. So after that fun in Battlefield 1942, we can see on average it scored 96 frames per second. Titan Quest, which we showed at the start of the video, scored roughly 18 frames per second, and Warhammer Dawn of War 10 frames per second. Moving on to our benchmarking software, PC Mark 05 scored a respectable 4011, 3D Mark is still running. Cinebench Release 12 single-threaded performance is 1873, multi-threaded performance 3488. So now, upgrades. The small form factor case is a major factor when it comes to the upgradability of this system. Obviously maxing out all the RAM slots, 4GB of RAM is a good start. An IDE to SATA adapter and use of an SSD would increase the read-write speeds, but with a system like this it seems a bit pointless. As mentioned, anything other than a half-height GPU with more than 75 watts of power draw is going to stress the power supply and generate a lot more heat and noise. When released, reviewers were disappointed about the lack of TV tuner card on this system. However, in 2022 it is really relevant. So, does it work as a media centre? I'd say yes and no. If you wanted to watch films, then the machine will happily encode all day long, although the severe lack of storage space would soon become an issue. When it comes to gaming, the system was never really up to the task. I'd say it's usable for any game up to 2003 era, although as long as you're not expecting AAA graphics. I'd plan to do some period correct upgrades in the future to see how far we can push the performance of this machine, but I'll return to it now back into the collection to sit and look pretty on the shelf. If you found this video useful or interesting, then please consider donating a free like and subscription. Comment below if you remember using this system back in the late 2000s, or if you have ever experienced it out in the wild. I've been your host, Retro Ted, and I thank you for your time. Stay safe, and I shall see you anon.